What is going on, guys? It's Sarge and welcome back to Prime Reviews. Now if you're new to this series, in this series I talk about all the Prime weapons and frames in the game, and I give you the statistics of the weapon and how I think you should mod them. And without further ado, let's get started. Now this episode we're going to be talking about the Paris Prime, one of my favorite bows in this game. Now for starters, the advantages of this weapon: it does have a very high puncture damage compared to its original predecessor. That base damage of this is 200, with 160 of it being puncture damage. It has a much higher crit chance of 45%, so a point strike is really useful on this. It has a much higher status chance from 10 to 20, which is really good if you want to make a status build, which I'm not really used to making, but I prefer more of the critical chance build, but that is pretty good for a bow. And it also has an additional V polarity slot, which is really good, so you don't need to use as much forma on this weapon. And it has the second highest crit chance of all the weapons in the game, only behind the Dread, the Amprix, and the Synapse, which have 50%. Now for my build, I did go with a crit chance build, so I'm able to hit red crits at a 12.5% rate. So for my build, I use Serration with speed trigger, so I'm able to do a lot more damage and I'm able to pull the bow back much quicker. I do have Stormbringer with infected clips, so I can get corrosive damage, so I can fight against enemy armor at higher rank enemies. I am using split chambers, so I'm able to shoot multiple arrows at the same time against enemies, so I'm able to do much more damage, especially giving me more chances of a red crit. I do have Vital Sense to increase the amount of critical damage I do, so the red crits actually do a lot of damage. And I also have bladed rounds for those moments when I shoot multiple enemies and my crit damage will increase, so the red crits will be even stronger, plus with Vital Sense. Now for some tips on this weapon: you could use Arrow Mutation to replace bladed rounds if you want to get more ammunition. You don't really need to rank it up at all, so just keeping it at a rank 1 is really good, and it'll save you a lot of mod capacity to use for other mods. Another thing about bows, which is more in general about what they are, you can charge them up almost anytime you want, so always keeping a fully charged arrow at all times is really useful, especially when you get into a close quarters engagement. The only times you won't be able to keep a fully charged bow is when you're hacking, or if you land on the ground from a high distance. It will stop your arrow from charging and you would have to restart it, but you do have speed trigger, so you will be able to pull it back much quicker anyways, so it won't really affect you that much. The only negative to the bow that I can see is the fact that you will have to lead your targets horizontally and vertically depending on how far you are from the enemies, so it could be much of a challenge when it comes to fighting higher ranked enemies. And if you just want to do stealth missions and fight enemies from a distance, I'd rather use a sniper rifle if I'm going for one-shot kills from a long range, if I'm trying to do stealth missions or something like that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this build. You don't have to copy this build. This is just my playstyle, since I love crit chance builds, and you should build in any way you think fits. Now I'm kind of hoping I can sell my duplicate set in the market, so hopefully I'll be able to sell it for 20 pot like I've been trying to do for a good week. I want to thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Stay frosty.